What's up, my dude? Supercross 7. Can Milestone get lucky this time? I don't know. Maybe. Just maybe. So, I'm coming back in here and playing Supercross 3 because the crazy thing is, all Milestone basically has to do with Supercross 7 is to go in there and make it more like Supercross 3 was, and they've basically succeeded. I feel like they're legitimately to that point right now where it's like, that's all they really have to do, Spency Boy wadding it. That's all they really have to do, man. I know that sounds kind of crazy, but it's the truth. That's how much better Supercross 3 really was. And if you don't believe me, you need to go back and play it. It's one of those things, the proof's in the pudding. Okay, don't just listen to me. Don't just take my word for it. Go in there and play it. See it for yourself. I mean, look at this track right here. I know I'm on the slower James Stewart bike, but bruh, this Daytona right here has 5 times the skill gap. In other words, you got to be 5 times as good at dirt bike games to get around this track than you do on the Daytona of Supercross 6. So there's so much more of that. Even the graphics, man. Like, I prefer the graphics of Supercross 3 over Supercross 6 for sure. For sure. So they're not even really on the right page with graphics anymore. I don't know what they're doing, dogs, but I wanted to come in here and just kind of talk about it as a whole. I always come in here and make a video after the new Supercross games, basically talking about what the next one is going to be like. So we got some predictions in this video, you know, the T-Sipper, you know what I'm saying? We'll see if that comes true. But my sort of prediction is, man, I don't think Supercross 6 was really, you know, perceived that well by the majority of the community. I just don't think it was. I don't think it was, you know, received well by most of the... Now, of course, you still got the particular people out there. It doesn't really matter what Milestone does. They're going to be all good with it, dog. You know, we've seen the result in the history books of all of that, and the people that have proven to do that, we know who they are, okay? We don't even have to say any names, but anyways, it's funny how when you go back through the times, I actually made videos back in the day talking about you need to buy Supercross 3. You know, a lot of people think I'm just this let's hate every Supercross game because it's not Reflex, bro. But meanwhile, you can go back through the history of the videos, and it's all there, dog. Spency Boy said all this that, you know, it's cool to say now, like Milestone's ripping everybody off, Supercross 3 was the best, Supercross 6 is not that good, you know, and all these reasons why Supercross 3 is the best. Those are all things I was saying way back there. You know, I remember making that video that was literally titled, "You Need to Buy Supercross 3." And trust me, I wouldn't tell you to do that for a game that I didn't think that you needed to buy. So, you know, Supercross 3 definitely has a vibe to it, dog. I mean, even though it's a Milestone game, even though it's a, you know, whatever, I know oh, shit, dog. I mean, you can see how you can pop off of the bike. I wanted to show some crashing in this video just to show you, but this game really captured that nice balance between speed of the game, difficulty of the game, you know, jump size, leaning, looseness on the bike. I feel like the speed of the game and the looseness of the physics of the bike are the 2 most important things to an arcade dirt bike game. They really are. And then tracks would be like 3rd most important thing. Like, even just this triple right here, just to get the power to go around the outside, and then you kind of got to huck the bike up, really lean on the bike. I don't know, there's just a certain amount of all that kind of movement that you got to have, and there's just a certain amount of speed feeling and jump size to make it feel like you're actually on a Supercross track. There's like a bare minimum level of all of those kind of things for an arcade dirt bike game for it to even feel proper. You know, for the tracks to even really feel like Supercross tracks, and for the game to even feel like an actual AMA Supercross game. I feel like there's a certain baseline standard to the gameplay that you kind of have, or then it's just looked at as like a silly, casual, mobile dirt bike game with good graphics, basically. So, yeah. But nonetheless, I don't know, man. I don't know what their next big new feature they would have with Supercross 7. I don't even know what kind of shit they would try to pull out of their sleeve at this point. Like I say, it just seems like they've kind of tried everything. The only other thing I can think of is if they really came in there and had just like a banger terrain deformation. You know, if they made the gameplay more like Supercross 3 was, and then had some solid terrain deformation that you could actually feel a lot, and it really affected the gameplay, reminding you they had that back in Reflex Alive. They've got it on MX bikes. I mean, it's definitely a staple of like newer and older dirt bike games at this point. It's just a staple, period. So for Milestone to, you know, have all these realistic graphics, and they act like they got all this realistic, you know, video game, but then you get on some tracks and you can't even see the terrain deformation. Most of the Supercross games are like that. They just don't really have any of it. Even here on Supercross 3, at least on this Daytona track, I'm definitely not physically feeling anything at all. There may be some select tracks in this game that have a little bit of it, but luckily the gameplay kind of makes up for it a little bit here. But that's the problem now, it seems, with a lot of the Supercross games. It's like they don't do enough to make up for the lack of whatever it is. Do you see what I'm saying? Like, Supercross 6 just doesn't have anything really super special to it that makes up for the lack of stuff in it. And at the end of the day, that's why Milestone finds themselves at one of their lowest points they've been at. They're not making the MXGP games anymore. That's what they started on. Supercross 6, I consider it the worst Supercross game for its time. So, I mean, they're definitely down in the dumps right now. I don't see how you could really disagree with that much. But the fans are waking up to what they're doing, you know. They're not going to keep... Every year that you go, it's going to be harder and harder to keep getting all those fans to pay another $60. You know, I know a lot of people talk about it being like, well, it's just like FIFA, or it's just like Madden, or it's just like whatever. But I don't think it is. Because motocross games have never been that way, and you don't have attributes or stats on the riders. It's not like, oh, if you buy the new Supercross game, then Tomac's like a different rating of a rider, you know, and Ken Roxon's got a 69 rating, and Tomac's got a 99 rating. Like, there's none of that shit. And the teams don't really matter in Supercross and motocross. It's just changing the visual look of the bike that they're on. So it's not really the same difference. You're getting even less, I feel like, with these, you know, make a game every year milestone dirt bike games than you are in like a NCAA or whatever. They're actually changing the stats of the players and the different players on different teams of other players and things like that. But like motocross games have never really been that way. What everybody does is first thing they do is go in there and make their own custom rider with their own custom bike and custom graphics and custom gear. They pick their own shit. That's what 99% of moto gamers do. So most of the guys playing these games are not even playing with the Tomacs and the Roxons and all that shit that Milestone spends so much time on. It's like, it's not even really adding that much to the gameplay. Like, at the end of the day, it's really not. Like I said, it'd be different if they had, like, different attributes, you know, the different riders, and you could see their stats. And, you know, I guess if Milestone started doing something kind of like that, then it would be a little bit more like, okay, worth it to get a different one every year. But other than that, you're basically just paying for different tracks. It's like you're paying for milestones, random tweaks to the physics that could turn out to be better or worse, and then you're paying for different tracks. That is basically it, dog. I mean, the graphics change a little bit, but as you can see here with Supercross 3, they don't always get better. So I feel like Supercross 3's was just better. So that's the thing. They're not just getting better and better and better as the Supercross games go on. That's what I thought they were going to do after Supercross 3, because they basically did do that from Supercross 1 to 2, even though Supercross 1 was... It didn't take a lot to, you know, advance upon that, but nonetheless, it did seem like from Supercross 1 to 2 to 3, it was just getting better and better and better and better. And then it kind of seemed like there for a minute, okay, shit, maybe Milestone could really come up with something cool with Supercross 4. And now we're all the way to talking about Supercross 7, and it's like, holy shit, can they even make it as good as Supercross 3 was? I don't know, man. That's going to be a legit challenge, because now you've made something to a certain point, and now you've got to try to kind of live back up to that, or hell, what you should be doing is making something even better. But I don't know if they can do it, because they've just changed so much with going to Supercross 4 and 6, and I don't know, man. But we'll see. They're going to have to stop with this one-to-one scaling crap on Supercross 6, where the jumps are tiny. They feel like motocross peaks. They don't even feel like they're Supercross peaked out jumps. They're going to have to change their ways with that. They're going to have to do something. They're going to have to do something like make the jumps a lot more peaked in Supercross 7 than any other Supercross game, or, I don't know. I don't know exactly what they're going to do there, but something special and different that they've never really done gameplay-wise before is going to have to be done here, or, I don't see how they're going to keep going at all, period. I just really don't. Like, they can't just keep making micro changes to the career mode and, just giving you one free ride compound. Like, I'm so shocked that they still haven't started giving you, like, 2 or 3 different free ride tracks, and instead of them all being compounds, you can make some of them like the old school, Unleashed free ride tracks or Untamed free ride tracks that actually had a theme to them, and they were fun, and it was something kind of weird and different. Or Enduro Cross, you know what I mean? Like, in a Supercross game, you know how fucking awesome that would be? That was something they had all the way back in Untamed. I cannot believe that's not been like some, big hit new feature to one of these new Supercross games. Like, hey, look, we finally added Enduro Cross, or like some arena cross tracks just for shits and giggles, like something. I don't know. They're just not doing enough. They're not doing enough even for the making a game every year and all that whatever bullshit excuse you try to give to Milestone. They're still not doing enough. They're still not doing enough, bro. Period. Just telling you. So, Enduro Cross, remember when they were kind of messing around with that a little bit with some of those MXGP games, and they were acting like they were going to give us some enduro content of some kind, and then they never really did. It's just so ridiculous, man. But the track editor just gets minimal improvements every year, and I do mean minimal. Spency Boy does mean minimal. But yeah, I guess the Legends DLC was okay because it had Stewart on there, but I don't know. They're at a crossroads right now where it's like either Supercross 7's gonna save the Milestone dirt bike franchise, or it's gonna kill it entirely. I think they are at that much of a crossroads right now. They can't afford to have another bad one. They just can't do it. I felt like Supercross 5 was okay because it still had it had quite a bit of leaning skill gap and bigger jump rhythms and a couple things that kind of saved that game a little bit, but like Supercross 6 totally missed the mark all the way around. So now it's like they're really going to have to strike with Supercross 7 or it's not going to be looking pretty, dogs. Just telling you, it's not going to be looking good for the Milestone, you know, franchise Supercross series. I'll tell you that for damn sure, big dogs. They still don't have the gear editor or bike skin editor, even though they had the helmet editor all the way back in, what was it, Supercross 5. They still haven't progressed anymore on that. There's just like all these things that you just would have expected by this point. Terrain deformation, different weather effects. I mean, there's just like certain things, more motocross module pieces and the track editor. Just all these things. It's like, where is it, Milestone? Where is it? Come on now. I mean, I don't know, dude. I don't even know, dude. Been saying it forever. Spitzy boy, I'm telling you, the truth has been laid out for a long time now with this shits. I've been telling it all to you from day one, bro. Day one, brothers. But either way, they're doing the one singular giant inside berm on Supercross 6. That's not going to cut it. Doing that same thing with Supercross 7, you're going to have to make some multiple pre-made ruts or terrain deformation or something, or a combination of the two. You know, that's going to be a big thing with Supercross 7. If it doesn't have that, it is going to be dog shit. I just don't think we can go through another Supercross year of that kind of shit. Like, they're going to have to seriously do something, man, because you're losing a lot of your fan base, Milestone. I don't know if you've noticed that, but there's been a lot of people not being too fond of the old Supercross 666. I'm just telling you, bro. Just telling you, bro. So either way, let me know down in the comments what you guys think. I'll see you boys on the next one. Later, dudes.